strive to enter. All right, so if we pull up over here for us Luke 13, and let's just read through the whole thing here. Luke 13, 22 through 35.
And he was going through the cities and villages teaching and journeying toward Jerusalem. And someone said to him, Master, are there few who are being saved? And he said to them, strive to enter through the narrow gate, because many, I say to you, shall seek to enter in and shall not be able. When the master of the house has risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and knock at the door, saying, Master, Master, open for us. And he shall answer and say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Then you shall begin to say, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he shall say, I say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Depart from me, all you workers of unrighteousness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham and Yitzchak and Jacob and all the prophets in the reign of Elohim, and yourselves thrown outside. And they shall come from the east and the west, and from the north and the south, and sit down in the reign of Elohim. And see, there are last who shall be first, and there are first who shall be last. On the same day there came certain Pharisees, saying to him, get out and go from here, for Herod wishes to kill you. And he said to them, go say to that fox, I cast out demons and perform healings today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. But I have to journey today and tomorrow and the day following, because it is not fitting for a prophet to perish outside of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wish to gather your children together, the way a hen gathers her chickens under her wing, but you would not. See, your house is left to you laid waste. And I truly say to you, you shall by no means see me until the times come when you say, blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahweh.
All right. Okay, very good. So let's go back up here and talk about a few things that we see over here in Luke chapter 13. First of all, we see Yeshua is continuing on. The last time we talked about Yeshua, the people tried to have him hemmed up in the porch of Solomon, and they tried to grab him up and stone him. But he escaped. And, it's interesting that he has all of these situations where danger arises. Sometimes, people go through these things, and the things that they go through that bring that could potentially cause a hindrance or some kind of stoppage to the path. He has a lot of reasons to kind of stop and to lay low and to be like, this task is too great. People's out here trying to kill me. It seems like it would make sense for him to actually just sit back a little while. But right after that happened, right after he narrowly escaped being stoned in this four-walled place surrounded by people who wanted to kill him, it says in 22 that he was going through the cities and the villages, nothing stopped. He's going around teaching, and journeying toward Jerusalem. It's interesting that the idea of teaching in the streets is radical in the time. It's radical for you to just be out in the streets teaching. Like you had a place, and people came, and you had, your disciples or whatever. You had like basically a school set up where you sat down and you kind of, respectfully, or it was the kind of the orderly manner about things to just be somewhere teaching. And for the people to be out in the streets teaching, as Yeshua was, as when you think about John the Baptist, it talks of him just being out in on the wayside crying out. This was radical. And so we don't really see this when we just look at this verse 22, and he's going through the cities and villages teaching and journeying towards Jerusalem. Sometimes we see Yeshua in the places where he's following kind of the protocol. He goes to these people's places and he'd be teaching in there. But he's also out in the villages, teaching out in the streets. And then so I think that it's interesting when we see these confrontations that happen, these things that happen with Yeshua, and the people who are always coming up questioning him. They're questioning him because it's kind of this, for them, it's like it's kind of a hostile situation just by simple fact of what it is. Him kind of being this person who's out and he's just proclaiming out in the streets. And so it kind of gives for this environment where people are challenging his situation. And so we see that with verse 23 with someone, this unnamed person, master. This isn't one of his disciples, but this somebody who's, and we don't know if this is kind of like fake humility or whatever. Like, I don't know this. We don't know who it is. It says someone. But the thing that he's asking him, again, we really kind of have to look into the thoughts of the time to understand that this kind of is a thing. Because when Yeshua talks about this idea of this, and he said this before, this idea of this narrow gate, this straight gate, this idea that few will be saved. This is kind of contrary to the thoughts of Israel at the time. When they think about the time to come, the idea of all Israel being saved is really a thought that they had. But it's a thought that they had, and so the idea of a few being saved is different from this idea of all Israel being saved. And so this someone is challenging Yeshua and saying, like, I heard you out here talking before. This one time I could have swore I heard you say, are there few who are saved? I thought as Israel we was all going to be saved. And so he says to them, could you read 24 again?
Strive to enter through the narrow gate, because many, I say to you, shall seek to enter in and shall not be able.
Okay, I want to talk about a couple things over here. Let's look at strive. Let me look at this word here, strive. And kind of understand what this is here. Because again, there's this question that's being asked. This question of you're saying that's only going to be a few. We traditionally believe it's going to be all of us, right? Especially when you look at Israel in its state at the time where it has this pseudo freedom. They're an oppressed people at this time. They're given the liberty to be able to go and do this or that, but only as far as Rome says they can go. Right? They have permission from Rome to do the things that they want to do. And so the people at that time are in need of redemption. They're in need of salvation. Right? And then here comes Yeshua talking about all of y'all ain't going to get it. There's going to be some people that don't make it into the world to come. Right, this is the thing that's part of their traditions. This idea of the world to come, right? And so, he said that you have to strive. That word there means to struggle, to fight, to labor fervently, right? To endeavor to accomplish something. Look at the word study on that. Look at the word study on that, because it talks about a couple other things over here that I like here. To contend for victory. To contend for victory. First of all, I like the idea that victory is the desired result. Right, you're just not fighting just for fighting's sake. Like you want to achieve a particular goal and you contend in order to meet that goal. And that kind of works in this idea because you're talking about the idea of striving to enter through the narrow gate. And so in this way that Yeshua is saying that must happen, if you trying to get to this place of salvation, that there has to be this striving that happens. Here, pull that one, word study back up again. Well, because there's a couple other things that we see in there. It says, if you look down past it, also, yeah, right there. It also came to mean to take pains to wrestle as in an award contest, straining every nerve to the utmost towards the goal. Now that's interesting to me because when I think about that, it automatically caused me to think about Israel. I mean, Jacob. Right? It automatically caused me to think about Israel. Go back to somewhere in Genesis and just find Israel so we could see that. And matter of fact, you could just go to the Strongs and pull up Hebrews 34:78. H3478. Because when we think about this idea of, first of all, struggling or striving to enter through the narrow gate, Israel, there he goes, right there. He will rule as Elohim, but his name there, if we look at it, go down so we can see the Hebrew. No, scroll up to the top, I meant to say. And so if we see over there the Hebrew there, you got the Yod, if we move that to the side, and the Lamed at the end, if we move that to the side, you got the root there. I think they got it right there on the, right there is the root to prevail. Right? Look at the BDB on that, the BBD. To contend to have power, contend with, persist, exert oneself, persevere. And all of this happens after he's wrestling with the angel, right? All this happens after he's striving to enter in this narrow gate. The narrow gate being this thing, this blessing that he's fighting for with the angel. Right? So his whole name and character is transformed and changed when he becomes Israel. And so when we think about Israel, who Israel is as a person, who Israel needs to be as a people, is those that persist or contend or to strive for victory with Elohim. It's not just a passive thing. It's not just like a cruise control situation. You know, it's a difference when you're driving on cruise control. You know, you put it on cruise control. I kind of like doing it, but I can only do it for a little while because it kind of makes me get sleepy. Like when I feel like I'm getting tired, I need to wake up, I'll turn the cruise control off because I'm like, I got to interact with the road. I got to like, you know, if I'm in cruise control, I can't be in cruise control with a bunch of cars around. Because you got to go you got to get in the fast lane. You go for a while, somebody's slow in the fast lane, you got to get over to the other side. Like you it's almost like you're playing a video game. But on cruise control, you just kind of you just cruising. You in the car, you just going, right? You're not really involved in the situation. When you think about just moving, you just going along. The thing is taking you, and there's no like you're not thinking about it. But in this life, there's things that you got to deal with. There's things that you have to contend with. There's things that you have to fight against, and you're not just sitting here in cruise control. So when we go back to Yeshua, he's saying you got to strive, not just strive just for whatever, that's so that you can make it through the narrow gate. I mean, when you just think about this idea of like a whole bunch of people, it's just like a funnel. It's like a whole bunch of people, but only a little bit of people could get through the gate at once. I mean, it's exactly like a funnel. It don't matter how much you pour into the funnel. Only but so much going to go through the little funnel part at a time. And then soon that thing just going to back up and just build all the way up. So you got to stop pouring and to give it the time to get through there. Go ahead.
It's interesting, the striving part, because historically and present day, Israel is striving. Like in Yeshua's day, they were striving to be seen, their garments, they love to sit in the high places and all that. They were striving with one another for, earthly, little status. But Yeshua was saying to them to strive to get through the narrow gate for the kingdom. You know what I mean? And to this day, people are still striving for, earthly recognition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still there. But we're striving for the wrong thing. We need to be striving for the things that lead us to everlasting life.
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing, because when you think about this narrow gate, when you think about this straight gate, it can't be the easy, quote unquote, easy way. It can't be the way that everybody's going. It can't be like how when you go, I ain't been to Kennywood in so long, not the part where you pay at. Because they want to squeeze that in. And that's a narrow gate. That is where you pay at. But when you get past the pay part and you go down through the tunnel part, the entrance, that's a wide gate. People just masses could walk through there all at once. That part. But this life that we live is like that part. And if everybody's going that way, that got to be the wrong way. That's the wrong way.
I heard someone say, that, we're supposed to be on the straight and narrow path, right? And Christianity is the largest religion in the world. There's more people in Christianity than in any other religion in the world. That don't sound narrow to me.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about mainstream Christianity, this is an issue, I think, that I don't think people really think about. When you think about mainstream Christianity and just how wide that path is, I feel like just by simple fact of that being the case, it can't be the way. It can't be the way. There's got to be something up with that. Because when you think about strive to enter through the narrow gate, this image that is given to us, it seems like it's so big. It's so easy. All you gotta do is just say this magic phrase, and your life is changed forever. And there's nothing that you can do that can reverse this spell that you recite. Like, that's a wide gate. I gotta say, I love listening to Christian radio. I love listening to Christian radio. I love listening to it. Apart from just a few little things that happens there, I love it. Like preaching, I love to listen to the idea of the foolishness of preaching. I love that. But there's just like these small little things, like these one things that I listen to. These people, it's called unlimited grace. Unlimited grace. Just the idea of it just makes it seem like it just gives you this false sense of security. And it's contrary to its own self. Like, there's no way that I can always say, well, nobody's perfect. He'll forgive me. Like, what if that's the relationship that I had with people in real life, where I'm always doing bad things against these people that I'm having these relationships with, and then my response is always, well, nobody's perfect. I'm always wronging you, but and I can never consistently live in a way when I'm not wronging you. I'm not going to be friends with you anymore. I'm just not. If you can never get to the place of just like our baseline is being good with one another, if we can't get to that, then I can't be with you like that. And so why do we think that the Most High is different than us? Like we was created in His image. He wants for us to be a certain way, and He's given us through the Ruach HaKodesh, the strength, power, and the ability to be in that way. And so from that regard, that is unlimited grace. He's given us the power to perform the things that He once. But there's still got to be a striving. Like if he's given us the spirit, the strength, and the power, but we're not doing anything with it, it's like we're wasting the thing that he's given us. Like he's given us this thing, the Ruach HaKodesh, so that ellipses, ... so that we can do something. Not just so that we can have the Ruach HaKodesh, but the Ruach HaKodesh is to cause us to actually do something. To strive for righteousness. If Yeshua says that I am the door, if he's the door and I'm striving to go through the door, I'm striving to be in a way that is pleasing, that even allows me to even get through the door, that looks like something.
Looks like Yeshua.
Exactly. And so when we look at 24 at that verse, he says, strive to enter through the narrow gate, because many will seek to enter and not be able. Now that's interesting right there.
Sure.
Because he said, many shall seek to enter. But he also said, if you seek, you'll find. If you could seek, you'll find. It seems like if you're seeking, you'll find. But many gonna seek to enter, but they're not gonna find. Because they seeking in the wrong place. If you seeking in the right place, I mean, this is just natural thing. Like if I lose my keys in my room, in my pile of dirty clothes, and I'm searching for my keys in the living room behind the couch, I'm never going to find my keys, as my keys aren't there. They're in my room in my pile of dirty clothes. I have to be seeking in the right place to actually find.
Right.
And so people are seeking, and they're finding a type of knowledge, and they're finding a type of understanding, but there's a knowledge problem. There's a misunderstanding problem. There's an intimacy. There's an intimacy problem. Because when we look, and let's look at some of these things, because when we look at the fact that Yeshua says over here, he said there's many that are seeking, but they're not able to find it. He kind of gives us some clues to what I'm saying over here. Let's read again 25, 26, and 27.
When once the master of the house is risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and knock at the door, saying, Master, Master, open up for us. He shall answer and say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Then you shall begin to say, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he shall say, I say to you, I do not know you, where you are from. Depart from me, all you workers of unrighteousness.
Okay, so there's a few things that we could see over here from these verses over here. First of all, there was an invitation. There was some people that's supposed to be at a particular place, and there was ample opportunity for those people to get to that place at a particular time. But there's going to come a time when that door is going to be shut. Like the door is open. The door is open, and he's like, come on in. Come on over here. I'm the door. There's no way to get into this place but through me, who is the door. Anybody who goes in some other way is a thief and a robber. But the door is open this whole time though. But there will come a time when the door gets shut. And then there's people that's on the outside who never came through the door. And he like, and they like, Master, could we get in? Could we come in? And the master's like, no, you can't come in here. There ain't no place for you. Matter of fact, who is you? Where you come from? Like, I don't know you. Like, imagine it's you at home chilling. And then all of a sudden somebody ring your doorbell and you answer them on their ring, and then they're like, and they don't be like, hi, I'm so and so from such and such, and I wanted to speak to whoever. But their thing is just let me in.
And they call you by name.
Yeah. Yeah. They acting like they know who you is, but you don't know who they is. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Who is you again?
That's what I did with the I guess the president of the union.
Oh, when Rahula came to the house? Yeah.
I didn't know who he was.
He knew who you was. Well, he knew who I was.
He was in plain clothes.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been in plain clothes. Should have
Yeah.
had a suit on.
Was it cold? Did he have a slick back? Because, he's keeping slick back.
Probably had a hat on. I mean, he looked like he was just going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I know who he was.
Yeah, but the thing is that the person on the outside is acting like he belongs on the inside, but the person on the inside don't know who that is.
Yes. You texted me and said, I hope you wasn't talking to him crazy at the door.
That's so
saw him on the
funny.
ring.
That's so funny. That's so funny that happened. But he expected to be known.
Yeah, he thought he was known. I didn't know who he was.
And he was at the door. Just like these people. They're like, open the door for us. But there's a disconnect in the intimacy thing. There's no intimacy there. If it's one of my peoples, I'm just cutting them in. Like, we don't even got to talk about anything because the intimacy part is there. But for them, these people, that's lost. And matter of fact, there's no intimacy, but there's no knowledge. He said, where you from? Like, who are you? I don't know you. But they don't really know him either, though. Because in 26, he said that the people going to be like, we ate and drank in your presence. Well, I've been to McDonald's a whole bunch of times. And ate in McDonald's. And there could have been many people eating in my presence. But I don't know who them people is. Just because I ate in their presence. It didn't say that I ate with you. He said I ate at the same place where you was eating at. That don't speak intimacy. You taught in our streets. But was there any type of learning by you that happened? Because when Yeshua taught, most of the time he's saying, follow me. Learn of me. Learn of the things that I'm saying and begin to do these things. And so for them to say that we ate and drank in your presence while you was there, you was around, like we was kind of in the same vicinity, eating and drinking, and you taught, I was standing right over here while you was teaching over there, but there's an intimacy problem here. Thus, why they wasn't let in.
This reminds me of like when you have a famous relative, where you find out that someone who's as famous as your relative, and then you start to make claim.
I got a famous relative, yeah.
You start to make claim to that person, but then that person don't even know who you are.
I got that in my life right now. I got a famous cousin, little cousin, and he's famous. He done won Grammys and everything else. And I can say to people that that's my cousin. But I ain't seen this man in real life since he was probably Moshe's age.
Bill Cosby's my cousin.
Oh my goodness. What family reunion you been to when Bill Cosby was there?
According to my family tree, we're double related.
According to Ancestry,
Two brothers
which
and
is
two
the
sisters.
point, you never
Baby
seen them except for on the Cosby Show.
And a court.
And so you staking a claim to have intimate relations with these people,
Yes.
but meanwhile, they never knew you.
So if someone says about my name to Bill Cosby, he don't know who I am.
He don't know who you is. He gonna be like, "Who is you?" You show up to his door like, "Hey, cuz." He gonna be like, "Huh?" He could be calling the police on you.
Take my ancestry.
Get these people off my property.
Yeah, but this is it's sad because, you know, I mean, just think of all of the people.
It's a delusion that's happening with these people.
Right.
They believe that they supposed to be there. What? Let me in.
Right.
I'm supposed to be here. I ain't with you. I'm supposed to be here. In their minds, they believe that they're supposed to be in the dough. Meanwhile,
You say,
they out dough.
And that's why there's gonna be a lot of weeping.
National.
That's what it say. It say that over. Did we read that part? It said
28.
it's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Like I think that when you say it like that, it make it different because, I mean, it's one thing to kind of just have a rejection, which it seems like that's bad enough. But for you to, in your mind, there's also in your mind a sense of betrayal, which would make it worse because it seems like it seems like I'm supposed to be there, but then when I'm not there, there's like, why not? And there was a seeking that was done by me. There was a seeking that was done by me, but I was seeking in the wrong place, and then I never found what I was looking for because I was seeking in the wrong place. Go ahead.
Can you do a quick study of unrighteousness so people could understand?
Yes. Well, okay. Yes, absolutely. I was going to already look at that. So let's first look at 27. Let's first look at verse 27 because this is interesting here. Let's look at 27 where it says, because again, we had to think about these people, they're mad. I don't know if they're mad. They're disappointed because they think they're supposed to be there. They're in the group of people who was seeking, but they didn't find. Yeshua don't know them. He don't know where they came from. He don't know who they are, even though they think he should know. And then he says to them, y'all get out of here. All you workers of unrighteousness. So there's translated as iniquity. And what's that word there? That word means injustice. It means unjust, unrighteousness, wrong, moral wrongness. Look at the word study on that. And this is interesting because, all of these things kind of are pointing us in a particular direction. If we look at the word study, what is not conformable with justice, what ought not to be, that which is wrong, right? Unjust, all these things, unrighteousness, wrong, unjust, injury done to others. If you look at this, fraud, deceit, guile, all of these things, if we scroll down all this way and see all these things that are dealing with unrightness. Sin is unrighteous. Sin is unjust, right? But let's compare now. Let's compare now this to Matthew 7:21 and 23. Matthew 7:21 and 23. Let's do a little compare and contrast. Yeah. Matthew chapter 7:21 and 23.
Read it.
Yes.
Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your names, and done many mighty works in your name? And then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you worker of lawlessness.
Okay, let's look at that word there, lawlessness. There, look at that word, lawlessness. Because it's the same. Okay, here this is anomia. I don't know what happened there. Okay, right. Illegality, violation of law, wickedness, iniquity, transgression, the law, unrighteousness. Okay, so over here, this is a different word. It's a different word, but it's the same concept. It's the same concept. Over there, it's just giving you just kind of general unrighteousness. But over here, it's using this word anomia, which is a without law. It's without law. It's lawlessness, right? So it's a different word, but it's the same concept all the way around. These people here are in a delusion. They're in a false belief. They're doing things in the name of the master. They're doing things, they believe that the thing that they're doing is right. In their minds is right. When they get this response, they don't understand why they're in this particular predicament. Didn't I do this and that and this and that in your name? I did all of the things. Why is you treating me like this? Because of the fact that he never had an intimate relationship with these people, and he's saying to them, get away from me because you're actually a worker of lawlessness. And so when we think about, okay, so first of all, this is not a contradiction. This is a combination. This one is being specific when it says lawlessness, iniquity, without law. The over there and back in what we're looking at in Luke is generally spoken, but it's the same thing. It's wickedness, it's unrighteousness. But being without law is wickedness and unrighteousness. It's the same. Right? And so if we go back, let's go back over and again, think about the fact that if we're talking about striving for that narrow gate means striving for righteousness. If we think about Israel's not fighting, he's not fighting pride. He's not fighting fornication. He's not fighting these things. He's wrestling with that angel of the Most High, that messenger, the Most High. His concentration is focused on the Most High. He's striving for righteousness. And he's striving with the embodiment of righteousness. And so while he's doing that, he don't got time for these other things. all of these other things that will cause him to be pulled away from the right path. How is he able to deal with that stuff when he's focused in, locked in to the Almighty? And so when we think about Yeshua, who is that door, when we focus on him, on Yeshua and his righteousness, he shares that righteousness with us. But then he don't share it for us to just take the righteousness and put it down. Like we're walking in that righteousness. And so there's an intimacy with Yeshua which looks a particular way. It looks like righteousness. Right? Because it is righteousness. Okay? And so when we talk about this idea of many seeking and not entering, they're seeking but some other way. And he already said to seek this other way, you a thief and a robber. Which, by the way, that's sin, right? To be a thief and a robber, to steal is sin, right? We have to focus on the actual way.
That's right.
Let's go over to, I want to look at this as a side note. Let's go over to Ephesians. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4. We still talking about how we're gonna walk into this straight gate, this narrow gate. But we can't be caught up in this delusion. Chapter 4, start reading at verse 17.
So this I say and witness in the Master, that you should no longer walk as the nations walk, in the futile of their mind, having been darkened in their understanding, having been estranged from the life of Elohim, because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their heart, who having become callous, have given themselves up to indecency, to work all uncleanness with greediness.
Okay, let's just stop right there. There's some interesting things going on here, but it's interesting that, first of all, when we think about this idea, he said you should no longer walk as the Gentiles walk. You can't be striving towards the straight gate and be walking as the Gentiles walk. You got to walk like Yeshua walked.
I don't know how you're going to follow Yeshua and be walking a different way.
That don't make any sense.
Don't make no sense.
How? How? Wait, is you with me or what? Is you following me? Like, where you going? Is you following me? Like, we got to be walking in the same direction. He said, you should no longer walk as the nations. It's a new walk now. But that looks like a way in the futility of their mind. There's something going on in their mind. They think that it's something, but it's futile, actually. Just like how Yeshua, the people said to Yeshua, we did this and we did that. And he was like, well, I don't even know who you are. What they was doing, their acts was all futile. It was something that was going on in their mind. And it says in Ephesians, having been darkened in their understanding, they've been estranged from the life of Elohim. They're not even connected to the life of a life in Elohim because of ignorance, a delusion. They had a false belief.
They got a form of godliness.
Yes, which is actual wickedness. They're in the dark. How could you be in the dark, but he is the light? He says how? There's a hardness in your heart, and you've become calloused. right? And so this thing that is being described over here is the antithesis of what it is to be in Messiah. But they're striving for something. They're doing things. They're doing something, but the thing that they're doing don't got nothing to do with Yeshua. Okay, read some more in verse 20.
But you have not so learned Messiah.
Oh, hold on a second. He said, you have not so learned Messiah. Messiah is over here. Those things that you was doing is different from Messiah. That's not what you learned about when we talking about Messiah. Those things are some other things. They're incongruent with one another. Keep on going, 21.
If indeed you have heard him and were taught by him, as truth is in Yeshua, that you put off with regard to your former behavior, the old man, being corrupted according to the desires of the deceit, and to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the renewed man, which was created according to Elohim, in righteousness and set apartness of the truth.
Okay, so there's a difference. There's a way that it looks whenever we're striving for that straight gate, and this is what it is right here. When we're dealing with this renewed spirit of our mind, we're put on this this new man that's created according to Elohim in righteousness and holiness of truth. This new man don't look like the old man. As a matter of fact, that's kind of the ones that he don't know. He don't even know you according to your former self. He knows you according to your new self. When he put his spirit in you, now you looking like him. Really, he don't even know who you is at all, really. He just know who he is in you. That's why he don't know them people, because they never doing these things. Meanwhile, he don't see himself in them people. So he like, who is you? But this new man that you heard of and was taught of, and that you walking now in truth, in newness, that one walks in righteousness. That one walks according to the Ruach HaKodesh. That one walks according to set apartness and righteousness and truth. And that one is the one who actually makes it through that door.
That's right.
And so when we think about this verse here with this people who, have this immense disappointment that brings about this weeping and gnashing of teeth, when they're able to even see over there where they thought they was going to be at but can't get there. If we go back to Luke 13 and 28, where there's the weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of Elohim, and you're on the outside.
That's a horrible place to be.
That's why there's weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Especially when you thought you were going to be there.
You thought that's the worst part about it. They thought they was supposed to be over there. And there's all these people coming from the east and the west and the north and the south, and they're coming and they're sitting down over there. And you're locked out.
Stop. I feel that way. Like looking for a job, and then like you just expecting like to get a position or something, and it's like everybody's calling you, everybody's emailing you.
When you have this false sense of security, this delusion in your mind where you think you're supposed to be somewhere, but meanwhile, the criteria that you created in your mind is actually different from the criteria that's actually necessary to have you be in the place where you thought you were supposed to be.
Yep.
It's actual lunacy, really, because you made up. If I make up this game, and I've got rules to the game, and people come and I tell them the rules of the game and they play and they just have the most magnificent time playing this game that I created and I made the rules to it, and they're having an awesome time. And then these other people come and they want to play the game, but they don't want to follow the rules of the game. Well, guess what?
You're not gonna win.
You can't even play. Forget about winning. You can't play the game. I said what the rules is, man. How you gonna come over here and just make up your own rules? But what's the difference? Like, if Yeshua is the narrow way, that's just saying that there is a way that he established. He is that way. He established the way. And the only way that we can get through that gate is through his previously established way. And it's not going to look some other way. It's only going to look how he said it's supposed to be. And so what he's saying is totally understandable, because what we have is it's something else. We got something going on in this world that's something else that Yeshua then never put his stamp on. And it's leading people in this false sense of security, when the lives that is being lived by these said ones don't have nothing to do with what Yeshua has established. And it's such a terrible thing when you look at this, because it's like they're so close. It's so close that they could see the kingdom right over there, but they can't get in. Like, it's different to be lost somewhere and you came and like you're not even there. But like, you can see the kingdom over there, you so close that you can see who's in there. But you can't get in. Matter of fact, it say you yourselves thrown outside. You can't get in. And so that's what we're looking at over here. We look at Yeshua talking to these people and saying, like, you gonna mess around and miss an opportunity. The only opportunity that actually matters in life. Because you following after these traditions and things that man has set up, and not dealing with Yeshua for who he actually is, and doing the things that he would have for you to actually be doing. What's this comment over here? What that say?
2 Timothy 2:19 says, however, the solid foundation of Elohim stands firm, having the seal. Yahweh knows those who are his, and let everyone who names the name of the Messiah turn away from unrighteousness.
I mean, there's too many examples. There's too many right examples in the scripture to be able to justify this idea of living a life of lawlessness.
Yeah.
Like, these things don't matter anymore. Why not? Like, how do we know what righteousness is if we're not walking in it? Like, you got to walk in it. Like, what is the earnest of the Spirit inside of you doing if it's not causing you to walk in righteousness?
Leading you and guiding you in all truth.
What is it doing if it ain't doing that? Like, this the very point and purpose of the Spirit is to lead and guide you into all truth. And so it's interesting when we look at this over here, what Yeshua has to say to these people over here who, and you know, when you think about this verse, it's a terrible thing to think about, you know, what is being implied over here by this verse. But you know, it comes to the bottom of, do you know Messiah? And does he know you? And are you walking in him, or are you walking in some form of him that's not him? You know, he goes on at the end of Luke, you know, they sit up there and try to tell him, you know, these people, they out here, they trying to kill you. But, you know, he don't have no thoughts about really what it is that they're saying, but only bringing out the fact that, you know, when people look at Yeshua for who he really is and not try to, deny the light as it stands in front of them in terms of, you know, he's being this one who goes and does these things that the Most High has empowered him to do. He's going to this place and gathering those who belong to him, and yet and still they are denying him. You know, when he says in 34, talking about the fact that he wishes to gather in the children all together, but they don't wish to be gathered.
That's talking about that Moses thing. They don't want to get rescued.
It's amazing how much when we think about where it talks about the renewing of your mind and how important that is, because when we look at these things, I think that's the same if we're talking about ancient Israel in Egypt, or we're talking about people right now in this spiritual Egypt. Until your mind is renewed, you can't be rescued. Because that's a big portion over here. You know, if it's interesting, he gives this analogy here of the chicken and the hen gathering his chickens under her wings, but the chickens not wanting to be gathered. Like that's your mama.
Yeah, it's like our kids, right? And we try to raise our kids and point them in the direction that they should go, right? That's our job.
Yeah.
Well, we can't, you know, if they decide to go out of the nest and go a different way, we trying to gather them. But if they you can't force nobody to do what you want them to do. Yeshua ain't forcing nobody to do what he want them to do.
Yeah. And even though it's right though.
Right.
And it's right. And then it's interesting because the hen knows. Like the little chicken don't know. It just is like doing whatever it want to do. Just, you know, this little piece of thing over here I could eat, and the hen's like, nah, come over this way. then it wants to go over there, and then it gets gobbled up by something that wants to eat little
Predator.
some random predator,
Snake.
a snake. Ooh yeah, that just come and gobbles it up. The hen knew that thing was over there, but the chicken just all it see is that little piece of thing that they want to go over there and get. But there's like that disconnect of, oh, I'm just doing my thing, like without having that knowledge. And so Yeshua is coming. But the problem is just even though like with the comparison, you're being driven by your instincts, by your carnality, just like the chicken would be being driven by his instincts, driven by his carnality. And Yeshua's coming trying to wake you up, like wake up from this darkness and this delusion that you're in so that you can follow me. But until that happens, until you're able to be disconnected from this delusion that's going on, this false sense of security, this thing that you thinking is right, but Yeshua is not honoring or accepting, until there's that disconnect from that and that joining to Messiah, we can't make it into that narrow gate.
It's so sad because, I know a lot of people that, I got love for a lot of people that, I used to run with and, seeing grow up, young bucks that used to look up to me and whatnot, and I see them in their wickedness. And they're not successful in their wickedness. Like you see they're down bad, right? Because of their wicked behavior. And they keep going down they keep going down the same road. Like, come over here. And I'm trying to talk to them like, bro, this is where it's at. I was once with you. Come over here. I'm telling you, it's better over here.
Yeah.
And they keep going down the same wicked path. And they just keep going down and down, further down. And it's just sad.
Yeah. It is sad. It is sad. But, we have to be able to, see. I think the thing that Yeshua is dealing with here, he presents himself for who he is. And he's just relying on the people to be able to accept, who he is, the way that he's presenting himself and letting it be known. There is no other way. The only way is through Yeshua. There's counterfeit ways out here. There's counterfeit ways. But we're able to see those counterfeit ways and know the right way when we follow these instructions that have been given to us. We can't follow men and traditions when we're able to clearly see that they veer away from the foundations, which is these scriptures over here. And so it's interesting that, when we look at Yeshua, he's always pointing it back and bringing it back to the scriptures that the people should know. Where, when we have that foundation, we're able to be kind of secured in the foundation and realize when things are going off and astray. All right, so I'll kind of end on this note as far as, dealing with Yeshua and this striving for this straight gate and understanding that, I think we have to be able to look at, these clues that are given to us, whereas, the popular mainstream wide way is the opposite of what Yeshua is talking about over here. We have to strive for that narrow way. and understanding that they're striving for that narrow way, you know, think about a whole bunch of people crowded in a big crowd trying to get into a doorway. It's tight, and there's people bumping into you and pushing you out the way. But if we're striving, if we're focused on that door, which is Yeshua, if we're focused on that door and focus on that destination, who is Yeshua, we make it through. But if we're looking at some other thing, this non-existent door, and trying to get through that way, it's not actually a door. You're not going to be able to get into the right door, the way that leads unto everlasting life. And so, you know, it's important for us. I think it's important for us to understand that this way, I don't want to say it's hard, because we're empowered to do it. But there is energy, effort, determination that is necessary in order to complete the task. That we're more than prepared through the Spirit, but we definitely have to go through adversities and uncomfortableness in order to make it. But we can make it, through Yeshua. All right.